This episode of the Out of the Cave podcast is brought to you by Crown Trophy of Cypress, California. Crown Trophy is your one-stop shop for trophies, medals, crystals, rings, and any type of promotional item. They also have the ability to customize your award or promotional item with your logo. See why they're celebrating 25 years of outstanding customer service. Contact Crown Trophy of Cypress for your next awards order and mention the Out of the Cave podcast to receive 10% off your order. You can find their contact information listed in the sponsor section of our website, outofthecavepodcast.com. And now, enjoy the show. You're listening to the Out of the Cave podcast with your hosts, Junior and the Captain. This is a podcast where we talk about the things going on in the world and share our opinions without worrying about political correctness. Remember, it's all about respect, keeping an open mind, and always having a good time. What's up, Captain?
Hey, Junior. What's up, bro? How are you?
I'm good, man. Happy Halloween.
Yeah, same to you. Same to you. I see you. You came dressed in your costume today, huh?
Yeah, I'm an emo rocker. I'm the guy from Green Day.
That's what it was, right? I was trying to figure out what it was. I mean, you brought the guitar in, but I was like, what the fuck is he? Just a musician, or is he Elvis Presley, or what? I had no idea, but
Yeah.
now I know what you are. There you go.
I'm emo. I am emo today.
And me, I am a construction worker.
Yeah, that's
That's what I did. I said, fuck it, I want to be a construction worker, man. Why not?
that's pretty normal compared to your
'cause
everyday.
It was kind of very easy to put this thing together, right? Just get a pair of sweatpants or jeans with paint on it, right? A little hat with some paint and a sweatshirt, and you're good to go.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And construction boots. Fairly simple, and weak, but I made an attempt, and here we are. I'm a
Yeah.
construction worker, so YMCA, here I come.
You get an 8 for effort.
There you go.
So Halloween is always a fun time depending on where you live. We live in New York in the burbs, and it's always great to see the kids come out. But this year with COVID, it was a different kind of Halloween, which kind of sucked because it's a Saturday.
Yeah,
You would expect the Saturday night to be big time party.
Not even just Saturday night, but during the day, no kids came around for candy. I have 2 huge bags of candy that I'm gonna have to eat myself now.
See, but that's weird because we got a bunch of kids who came by. So I guess it just depends on the block.
Yeah.
And if there's new kids, like little kids, because I saw a lot more little kids than I saw like the middle schoolers and high schoolers.
Yeah, I mean, over here usually you don't see like the high school kids. It's always more the little kids, but the parents would have to bring them around.
Mm-hmm.
I guess maybe because of this pandemic, parents are kind of like not feeling it. But at the end of the day, I mean, come on, it's what do they do? All they do is knock on the door, trick or treat. They get a little piece of candy, and that's it. I mean, so how afraid can you be to be even getting anything?
Some people are afraid.
No, I know, but I'm just saying. I mean, it's got to this point where it's people are so afraid that they're so not into you're not even getting some free candy.
I grew up in the city, and in the city versus how it is in the burbs, trick or treating is different. My friend was telling me about a kid that they knew. I guess it was like his relative who lived in the Bronx, and unfortunately, nobody was giving out any candy. So you got this little kid who was like trying to knock on people's doors, I guess, in his building.
Yeah.
And nobody was handing out any kind of candy, which I think is ridiculous.
No, but you're talking about right now?
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. I think that no one's opening the doors. I mean, I watched the comedian, what's his name, Sebastian Maniscalco, and he talks about how the difference is between back when he was growing up and today. That people in the old days they would open the door for somebody that knocks on. Right? Yeah, I mean, obviously you still take precautions and hoping that it's nobody that's going to come in and just like home invade your ass. But people in general would open their door and invite somebody in, a friend or whatever, right? Neighbors. And in today's date, he explains how everybody's like, no, yo, don't, duck down, because we don't want to make sure there's no movement in the house. They don't want nobody to come in. And it's actually very true. I mean, it's happened in my house too. It's like, you hear the doorbell. And everybody's like, no, you go, you go open, you go. And they're like, nobody wants to go to the door to open. And meanwhile, it's just a damn FedEx guy dropping off a package that somebody ordered. You know what I mean?
Sounds like your house is the one that's getting egged.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. But no, it's just that the times are different. But I grew up in the city too. And I used to love Halloween, especially since, the buildings, we used to go in one building. You used to have 10 15, 20 apartments, and you would hit on each floor 15 apartments. Man, that's $15, dude. You're getting candy, and then you go up, what, I don't know, 8 flights, eight stories, and you're getting a lot of candy in one building. So I used to love that, man. We used to go building to building to building. We would never get tired, man, going up and down those stairs.
You know? When I grew up in East New York, Brooklyn, and when we went trick-or-treating, I'm trying to remember. I don't really remember a lot of, like, when I was a young kid. I remember getting, like, the funky masks. Remember, like, the hard plastic masks that came in the square boxes? Yeah. Those were fun. And then we didn't really have a lot of money, so we always got, like, the random kind of mask and stuff like that. And so I do remember doing some, like, trick-or-treating, same thing, going in the apartment building. Yeah. But most of my memories of Halloween were, hanging out with my friends. We would stop and do some trick-or-treating, but it was always just kind of roaming the streets, kind of, like, like Warriors. Remember that the movie The Warriors? Yeah. It was kind of like that. To play. Exactly. But what I remember the most is the egging. So that was a real big thing. Yeah. So we would, attack people and get attacked by people with eggs. And, if you rolled with...
the eggs and the shaving cream.
Well, I was going to say, first it started out with just the eggs. All and right. So, you roll with your crew. And so it was always like, all right, I had 3 or 4 guys and we would go. So when we would run up against guys who was like only 2 guys, guess who's winning? We're winning, right? And so we got our eggs. All right, so we just beat up this crew of 2 people. We just beat up this crew of 3 people. And next thing you know, we turn around the corner, there's like 7 guys. And the next thing you know, we're getting pelted. Yeah. And I remember, in the subsequent years as we got older, the variations on the eggs. So, it was the eggs with the shaving cream. And then it got the eggs with the nair.
The nair, the neat. Right? Remember that?
The hair remover. Yeah, it totally happened. Yeah. It totally happened.
I definitely remember that too.
And then I remember one year it got real silly. Like, I think it was like frozen eggs or something. Like, they were like, those eggs were hurting. That. Yeah. So, for me, Halloween always had those kinds of, memories of like attacks and fights and crazy shit, shaving cream throwing, we even did like water balloons off the roofs because where we lived, we had access to the roofs and the buildings were all connected. So we would attack people from the roofs. I mean, it was kind of crazy, but it was never like malicious. Mean or malicious. Yeah. It was just fun, but shit got real.
No, I listen, I totally remember. I mean, and what's fucked up about the whole thing is that we would be attacking like just people we don't even know. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that was fucked up.
We didn't know. We didn't beat up like people.
Nah, well, I'm not saying that we would beat them up.
No, I mean,
like, I mean, throwing eggs.
But like old people, you're saying like adults?
I'm not saying nope, but an adult that had his kid, like, just taking his kid trick or treating, we'd be doing that too. There was like no holds bars, man. There was no rules to this thing. But it wasn't just us versus the other kids in the neighborhood. It would be just everybody, but we would walk around from place to place. We were out of control, man, back in those days.
See, you guys from Queens, no.
Yeah, well, listen, man.
No, we had a little bit, so we weren't like doing it to the adults, but like if it was the kids from around the corner, like any kid, it was open season. Listen,
we were doing it to cars and stuff, man. We were out of control, man.
Yeah.
I mean, but things have changed. I mean, we're not in the city anymore, you know what I mean? So I don't know whether they're still doing things like that or not, but I really haven't seen like anytime recent, like going into the store and not finding eggs or not finding shaving cream. You know what I mean? Like nobody seems to be buying that shit.
They used to say, only 1 carton of eggs. Yeah. They would limit us and stuff like that. No,
yeah, because if back in the day, if there was a Costco, I would have bought that 5 dozen eggs that they have, man. They said like 5 dozen for like $7. I'm like, there we go.
Yeah, and there was always like the guy who put like a whole carton of eggs in his pants or his in his jacket and it breaks. It was always that guy.
The best one was showing up at the house, coming home with egg all over your head and stuff like that. My parents were like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, my mother would get so mad. My mother got so mad. It was funny. And everything was like always like messy. I'll never forget those days. But the Halloween today is like, as an older person, it was girls dressing up in like these like sexy outfits. It's not the same. It's not the same.
Well, because it's not. I mean, that's what we were used to. You know what I mean? Yeah. But now it's more. It's slowly has changed even just within this year because nobody's been having Halloween parties or anything like that, right?
Yeah. I look forward to Halloween parties. I always make a fool of myself.
Yeah, but it is nice. It's nice to get together with people and or even just pay to go to a club, where everybody's dressing up and it's cool. I think it's cool. You know what I mean? It just continues or reserving that childhood aspect of our lives, right? That to dress up and just have a good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I miss that. And this year has specifically gotten worse for everybody. Unfortunately, with this COVID thing. But hopefully things change, man. Hopefully things change back to they were, and we can go party.
I think it will. Yeah. And you know what? In a few days with the presidential election,
already, man.
There's going to be a party on one side or the other.
I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen.
The streets, looking at the news reports, the streets in New York City, you know, a lot of the stores are boarding up their stores.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Even in Washington, D.C., they're boarding up.
Beverly Hills,
Rodeo Drive, they shut it down.
Rodeo Drive, they shut it down. They boarded everything up. I think for 2 days. Yeah. There's going to be no access to Rodeo Drive, man. So when have you ever heard this shit?
That is a sad,
when have you ever heard that, man?
That is a sad state of affairs.
That's crazy, man. It is crazy.
People just got to chill out, man. A lot of crybabies out there.
Yeah, I mean, man, I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know. If Trump pulls it out, I can just imagine riots and I mean, okay, 4 years ago, he won, and yeah, you had all these Hillary supporters. They were crying, and you saw them on TV, man, the little babies crying. But this time around, man, there's not just going to be no crying. These people are angry, man.
I think you're right. I think there's going to be a lot of looting and rioting.
These people are angry. So it's not just going to be crying and you know, posing to the TV. And this, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be, these people are going to get out of control, man.
But you know what? It's too much. This week, early this week.
And I'm just saying, if Trump wins, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Now, let's look at it the other way. If Biden wins, I particularly don't see the Trump people doing anything different. I think they're going to do the same shit, man.
That's what you hear.
You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I don't know. You know, Trump and his followers, they always say law and order and stuff. So you would think that they won't be like losing their mind and rioting and stuff. But you know what? Who knows? But I really hope not. Look, this whole looting and rioting thing is pissing me off. Like earlier this week in Philadelphia, there was some more looting and an outrage because there was a shooting by the police of a knife-wielding guy.
Yeah.
In the aftermath of all this stuff, there were 30 officers who were hurt. There was a news reporter that was attacked in the second night of the looting and the rioting. And you know what? Come on. Enough is enough. You cannot, and made me think about that website that you had mentioned last week.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Jackass?
Hey, Jackass. You can see all the shootings, all the other things that are going on, happening in the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
But here's this, this specific event, and I saw some of the video of it. Look, the guy had a knife. He obviously had some mental issues. It was not the first time he was called to the police were called to that home. There was stuff going on. You have to think, if you're calling the police, that means that the situation is so out of control, you need police help. I'm not saying you want the police to shoot and kill the person, but obviously it's an inflammatory situation, right? Like it's a scary situation. Stuff can go wrong. But you know what? It can't be that every time something goes down, we're looting and rioting and burning down shit and breaking up, property. You're killing your economy, your local economy, and your businesses. It's insane.
It's all an excuse, man. It really is. And there's the reason why I say that, because everybody talks about why did the police have to shoot this guy? He only had a knife, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you go on, I'm sure you could go just do a Google search, and you go look at people that have been stabbed and or cut up by a knife. And I'm not talking about a huge sword or anything like that. I'm talking about just a regular knife that these bad guys have. You're going to see that the injuries that occur with these knives are drastic, man. They're serious injuries, right?
It.
So when you tell somebody to put down the knife, they ain't listen, it's not one of these things like, oh, well, look, he's got a knife, so I got a knife, so it's even. It's not like that.
We're going to duel?
Exactly. So, I mean, why? Okay, but think about it. So you have a knife, right?
Yeah.
And you call the police. So your family or your friends or whoever the hell, a stranger, calls the police for somebody to come and deal with this guy with a knife.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why call the police? If that knife really isn't that much of a threat, why are you calling the police, right? Because it is a threat. Because you know that if you get cut or get stabbed with that thing, you know that, one, there's a possibility you're going to die. And if you don't die, you're going to be severely hurt. Because guess what? It only takes a little bit for that knife to get into your eye and pull out that eyeball.
Yeah.
And or do any other kind of damage to the skin, to the body, right? So when you call the cops, what do you think? I mean, come on, man. Cops are coming in there with guns, right? Their job is not... The job is not to, hey, let me take the knife away from him and that's it in the story. It doesn't work like that, because these people that do have mental illnesses, they're not giving up that knife, man.
Right. They're not listening to reason.
Exactly. In their mind, they already know what it is. In their mind, they're telling themselves that, nah, I got to get out of this my way, and that's it on the story. So, when you call the cops, man, you got to understand they're coming with guns, man. You know what I mean? And they have to protect themselves. I saw, I think I was watching Geraldo Rivera. He was saying something like, oh, why they have to shoot him? Why didn't they tase him? Mm-hmm. Really, man? It doesn't work like that, So anybody with a knife or anybody that's able to move can shorten the distance in like a split second. So you could be literally 10 feet away, man, and in like a split second, you're right on top of the person. You think a taser's going to work? It ain't going to work, man. Because a taser, you need distance in order for that thing to be effective, right? You can't just tase some. I mean, you can. You can actually tase with actual contact with a taser, but that's not how technically it's intended to use. It's intended, for the darts to propel out, and it needs to have some sort of a distance in order for it to be effective. It doesn't work like that, man. You know what I mean? And again, when cops are doing their job, and everybody, again, they need to chill the hell out when it comes to this stuff, man, because they don't know what it's like, man. Right. And when cops are at a scene, right, and they're called to something in particular, right? You got your blood is running fast, bro. Your adrenaline is going, nerves, all that stuff come into play, man. It really does. So when people say, well, why didn't you shoot him in the leg? Do you know how hard it is in a range? Like, go to a range. I guarantee you, and this is for all our fans out there. Go to a range, whether with a rifle or a pistol, and get up there and shoot at a target. I can guarantee you, without anybody putting a gun to your head, without anybody yelling at you or anything like that, just, nice and quiet, just you aiming at the target, I guarantee you won't hit the bullseye every single time you pull that trigger. Yeah. There's just no way, because when you're shooting, it's all about, breathing, right, the way you aim and all that stuff. Now, put all these other things into play, where now you're getting called to a scene, right? So you just drove there fucking 60 miles an hour to get to a scene. Your adrenaline is pumping. Do you actually think that if I take out my gun, I'm just going to be able to aim at somebody's leg and it's going to hit him and that's it? Okay, I got him down. That's it. We're good. Problem resolved. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. And these guys that keep saying, oh, why don't you shoot him in the leg? Why? These guys shoot 10, 20 times and they only hit usually 3 times. Right. Right? And that's the reason why you would go for technically a kill shot. Because you have to make that bullet count, right?
Yeah, and even if they shot him in the leg, that doesn't mean that they're going to stop him.
No, I know, but that's exactly my point. I mean, one is it's probably not going to stop him. You never know, right? But two, shooting somebody in the leg, there's no way you can actually say I'm going to shoot the guy in the leg and it goes in the leg. You're probably going to miss. Now, the bad guy, on the other hand, right? The bad guy doesn't have that whole anxiety, adrenaline. It doesn't. You know why? Because they're already thinking, I know what I'm doing. See, a cop, when they show up to a scene, they're not there to kill a person. But a bad guy, if he wants to kill you, he already has it in his mind he's going to kill you. Right. So that's why those guys usually, like a bad guy, man, usually is able to hit a cop. And, you know what I'm saying? More times than not, those guys, their aim is a little bit better because their circumstances is a little different. You understand? So, yeah, man, in this particular case, this guy... the cops were there. That was the 3rd time that day they were there.
Yeah, they had been there before.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So now they show up. I don't know if it was the same guys that showed up. For all I know, they could have been different guys that were a different tour or whatever. They show up. The guy refused to drop the knife, and they shot him. I mean, that's it. And then think about it. I think they shot like 10 times, and they hit the guy 3. So that's the perfect example that I was telling you about. You shoot 10 times, and you hit 3 times. What does that tell you? It means that you missed. You probably, maybe let's just say one of the guys was trying to aim for the leg, and he kept missing, and you got to keep shooting until you hit, right? Well, that's exactly what happened. And then from that, where the guys actually were there to do their job, they go and destroy the city, bro. Yeah. By doing that. Yeah.
Now, what would happen if the cops didn't show up? And then that guy does something?
Yeah, exactly.
People get mad. The cops didn't show up and stop this guy.
Yeah, and they still loot.
Yeah. It's again, I'm not saying the system is perfect, but the rioting and all that stuff, it just got to stop. It's too much.
It's just that people now, they find
like you said, excuses. I think it's an excuse.
They find excuses just, hey, you know what? It's Christmas time. Let me go get this stuff. And it's not even that. They just don't care. People nowadays just do not care, man. That's the way I see it, and because I've been seeing it. I've been seeing it over and over. It be TV, whether it be in real life, man, I see that stuff happening, man. The people that just don't care, no respect.
Yeah.
They don't believe in God anymore. They don't believe. There's no faith in anything like that, man. It's just like people don't care, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
I don't
everyone, but there's a lot of people, and I do have sympathy for the family.
But it's the same bad people all the time.
But you're right. They're the ones who are looking for these opportunities.
Those are the ones. I'm not talking about people. Listen. I'm talking about these people that are the same ones over and over.
Yeah.
When you go look at the numbers in crime and all that stuff, it's the same guys getting locked up over and over again. So, like, if they say, for instance, oh, look, the blacks are getting locked up more often or whatever, right? And say, oh, damn, that's a big number. Wow. Then you start looking a little bit further into, all right, who is it that's getting locked up? It's the same guys over and over. Mm-hmm. It's not somebody else, like an innocent person that just made them. No, it's the same guys over and over, and they're the ones that drive those numbers up, man. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate, but those people that keep doing it over and over, they just could care less. And these are the same people that we're releasing from Rikers Island, man. Right? Think about this. You have a whole bunch of guys from Rikers Island. They released them. Why? Oh, because they might get COVID. Really, man? That's the reason you're gonna, and that's what they did, man.
COVID, man.
Yeah, and the same guys
I know,
got released. They released, and they end up doing other stupid shit.
No, true.
Yeah.
I've seen all those stories. I mean, like
but
I said,
crazy,
it's crazy. I feel bad that someone lost a family member, but at the same time, that dude's wilding out. When you call the police, there is a chance that some shit like that's gonna happen, man. And I feel bad, but
that's why this election, man, is going to be crazy.
Well, and it's crazy. Look, I read earlier, like, I think it was more than 62 million early ballots have been cast. Wow. I think more early ballots have been cast than there were in the last election, which is pretty nuts. It's also good that there's people out there voting. But again, I'm waiting for that. I looked up the population of the United States.
What was that?
It's like, what did I say, 350? It's like 328 million.
Okay.
So
if there's 600
if we see 600 million, we're going to know. We're going to know something's wrong there, man. But, and again, not to speak about this for too much time, but I read Bloomberg was doing like a major advertising buying blitz in Ohio and Texas to complement what he was doing. Right? Yeah, to complement what he was doing in Florida.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, do people really think that it's so easy to buy votes? Just by advertising, because it didn't work for Bloomberg when he was like making his bid.
He spent like $100 million.
I thought it was more than that. I thought it was more than that.
Was it more than that? I don't know. Maybe it was.
But
for 1 month. Remember, he was in it for a month.
Yeah, and it didn't work for him. So they're pouring all this money into the states. It's just amazing. It's just amazing that they have this much money to kind of waste on little advertising messages, and
that's his own personal loot, man.
And they think that that's enough to
sway people.
To sway people. In some cases, I'm sure it is, but
yeah, but I don't think so, man. Because listen, man, everybody know. Like, I think things are different now, where people look at commercial, or they watch a commercial and they'll be like, "Oh, that's all bullshit," or "Oh, that's just the same shit that they do every 4 years," So like. Everybody already knows one group is going to put a commercial against the one person, and another group a different person. So it's like back and forth. They're saying the same shit. I don't think any of these commercials sway anybody.
Well, I was gonna say I think it is different because you probably saw the reports that 50 Cent, like, he had put out a tweet when he saw what the impact of Joe Biden's tax plan was going to be for New Yorkers making a certain amount of money. He was like, "F this." He was like, "I don't care if you don't like black people, I gotta support Trump," right? Like, he was like making like public comments, and then like Chelsea Handler, his ex-girlfriend, supposedly was like giving him shit and making him like kind of change his public tune. But he's still gonna vote for Trump because that's hitting his wallet. And then like you saw Lil Wayne, he was like, I think it was announced that he had met with Trump to talk about a platinum plan, which is something to help African Americans.
That's the one that Ice Cube met with him with.
Yeah, exactly. So what I feel like is happening is that people are not just necessarily paying attention to the advertising, but like doing a little bit more research and I think you have to be able to, whoever's in office, be able to put aside your personal bias and still have a meeting, still have a conversation, and see what comes of it, which is what Ice Cube was saying.
Yeah.
When he was saying, "Hey, I just wanted to talk to someone. These people were the ones who spoke to me. This other party, I think it was Biden, was like, hey, let's wait till after the election," which to me makes sense for Biden. And I think at the end of the day, you can't just go by, "Hey, I'm just going to spend $100 million in advertising," right? Like, if you see this message 5 times, that means that, you're going to vote. You're going to vote for us. You actually have to be delivering a message that people can listen to and connect with, right? Like you actually have to be doing something. And I think a lot more people are looking for that. So it's going to be real interesting what the results of this election will be in just a few days.
Yeah, I think and we spoke a few podcasts ago in regards to the Latino and Black votes. That's going to be, to me, the most interesting part of this election. And that's because in the recent past, you've had a lot more like Black entertainers and just scholars who have come out in support of Trump, right? And I've been listening to them. Listen, I'm not Black, I'm Latino, but I've been listening. And a lot of the stuff that they say makes sense, man. And I'm not saying in regards to the politicians themselves. I'm talking about just in life in general. Like a lot of the things that they put in perspective in regards to like the way the communities are set up, the programs that are set up and all that stuff. A lot of these people have opened my eyes to a lot of things, and I've been seeing things a little bit differently. You know what I mean? And it's not about supporting one particular person. It's actually looking at the system in general and seeing whether the system is set up to help you. You know, and I think that's where it's going to be. I want to see those numbers. I want to actually see how many Blacks, how many Hispanics actually voted for Trump, and what their reasoning was for. I mean, obviously, I don't know if we're gonna know all those things, but it's gonna be interesting to me because, believe me, I think that people are really beginning to wake up in regards to their situational aspects in the way they live their lives. You know what I mean? So
and not just to throw away their vote. Right.
Yeah.
In the past, like I said, people say, "Oh, you're Hispanic, you must be a Democrat."
Correct.
I'm like, I'm an independent. Like, don't tell me what I'm supposed to say or do or feel just because of the color of my skin.
Yeah.
I think a lot more people, to your point, I think a lot more people are waking up to that, and I really feel like the Republicans have keyed into that because going back to when we were talking about the Republican National Convention, they had a lot of Hispanics and a lot of African Americans, regular people talking and giving speeches. Where you look at the Democratic National Convention, and it was like people dancing and all kinds of like Hollywood type stuff. Yeah, and that's not enough.
Yeah, no, it really isn't, man. Because I'm telling you, people just don't care about that stuff no more. They're at least they're beginning to not care too much about that, you know. And I said this before, when it comes to the Latinos, or we always talk about racism, right? Everybody's talking about racism and all that. And when you start with the brown people and the Black people and all that stuff, when you start saying it like that, all you're doing is re-encouraging over and over that you're a separate type of person than what I am, right? So every time when they say brown people, dude, I get pissed off at that because technically they're looking at the brown people as the Latinos, the Hispanics. Yeah, you know what I mean? And I'm Hispanic, and my skin, shit, dude, man, I think my skin is a lot whiter than a lot of white people's skin. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, am I considered? I'm the brown people they're talking about. Well, guess what? I don't feel that way, and I don't feel the way you think I'm supposed to be feeling. And we're a lot more educated nowadays than we are in the past, man. And so we're gonna see, man. I think this election is definitely going to be the Latino and Black vote is one that's going to carry. I think
so, and that's probably one of the things that Joe Biden said that I agreed with when he said to Charlemagne the God. I think he said the Hispanic population is much more diverse than the African American population. I think that's what he was trying to say. And when you think about it, there's so many different viewpoints, so many different shades of the way people think, not just how they look. In the Hispanic and Latinx community, it is very varied. So you can't just paint everyone with the same brush. Not to say that's not the same in the African American community, but in the Hispanic community, because that's where I come from, I know intimately that it is very, very diverse. So it will be, and I said this, I think when we first started our podcast, I said the Latino vote is instrumental. And whoever wins the Latino vote, especially now moving forward, is going to be the party that's going to really be able to win elections.
Yeah. But no matter which way you look at it, man, and I said this before, we need to get out of this two-party system, man. There definitely have to either be obviously the independent, we have the independent party, but a lot more people need to separate themselves from just being Republican or Democrat, because once you start doing that, you kind of put yourself in a particular situation where now you can't go outside of your group because other people are going to be saying some shit to you.
But see, I don't mind having the two parties, but you can't just be blindly one way or the other. Like, you have to be able to compromise.
But then why have the parties? I mean, there's
because I mean, what I'm saying is there always has to be a this or that, right? Like, I can understand the need for it because maybe there are bottom line differences that are always going to be in place. But just because I
belong to that party
doesn't mean that I can't come to a compromise on a specific issue, because issues are not always belonging to one party. Like, the American population is so diverse, there's issues that affect everybody.
But
so you still need to be able to work together and come up with compromise.
No, and I get that, but the problem here is that you and I could be in different parties, and we could come to a compromise. The problem is that in Washington, these politicians, once you're in that party, you stick along party lines, and then you just have maybe a handful of people that maybe are willing to work together. And that is a problem. So when I'm not talking about the general public being in different or not belonging to a particular party. I'm talking about the politicians. You can't go into Washington representing a group and then just say, you know what, it's our way, and that's it, end of story, and then never compromise. And that's what I mean by that. It's almost senseless to be part of a party when you know that you're never going to see the other person's opinions. Yeah. Well, you're not going to value them, at least.
Yeah, no, it's true. But that's a problem. So, look, we went, we're almost more than halfway through the podcast, and we haven't even said a big shout out to Los Angeles Dodgers for winning the World Series.
Yeah, they did it, man.
They did it. How long has it been? Since the 40s, was it?
I don't know, man.
So congrats to the LA Dodgers.
I thought they won in the 80s, no?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Look it up. But congrats to them. It's been LA's year, man, between the Lakers and now the Dodgers winning it. Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah.
Party time.
I still think that because the seasons were so short, I don't consider them like,
no, but still. Hey, but you know what?
But everybody had the same chance and opportunity.
Yeah, they got the W. Right. They got the W's. And I, I love LA. So good for them, man. I wish I'm a little jealous. I wish New York was winning something, but we are not going to be winning for a long
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. The Mets just got a new owner.
That's
Steve
right.
Cohen. So they may be on any path to winning. Who knows? Because this guy's looking to invest seriously into the team. So from my understanding or from what I'm reading, he's actually looking to spend some good money on quality players, man. Something that the Wilpons weren't willing to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we'll see, man. We'll see. I think things might change. The only bad thing about that is that, or what we're talking about as far as our New York teams, I was reading an article where a guy who's had season tickets for the Mets for the past 31 years, he just recently gave up his seats. And the reason he gave them up was because obviously we have this pandemic going on, and they reached out to him from the organization to re-up his tickets. And they were basically saying, oh, yeah, you got for your 5 tickets that you're used to have for the year, it's going to be $33,000 for the year. So the guy's like, well, wait a minute. I mean, this pandemic thing, I'm supposed to pay for He goes, yeah, even though there's this pandemic and we might not be playing the games in the stadium, we're still charging these tickets. You're still charging this amount for the tickets. And the guy was like, you know what then? After 31 years, I'm giving up my seats. And, these teams, man, they just get greedy. And again, this guy just became the owner. I don't know if it was under his direction that they did that. But, I mean, come on, dude. I mean,
they should. Yeah, you would think they'd be a little. You think they would be a little flexible?
I would think, man. I mean, if you want to keep your fan base,
but think about that's a lot of money. Especially, I don't know how many season ticket holders they have. It's a big chunk of change.
That's what I mean. I mean,
how many breaks are they going to give people?
Yeah, but listen, there's still a lot of people out of work.
Right.
They're not even playing the seats.
But if you can afford season tickets,
yeah. But you're talking about season tickets means that you're going to the games and watching the games at the stadium.
Yeah.
Or yeah. Okay. So there's pandemic. You're not allowed to go to the stadium, and you still got to pay for that. Are you out of your mind?
I'm just saying. I could see why the teams are second guessing it because it's a lot of money.
I get that.
They need it. They need the money to run the teams.
But if you're paying for seats and you still have to watch TV to watch the game, how does that make any sense, man?
If it were me, I'd be mad. I'd be mad if I paid $100 and that happened to me. Let alone, what was it, $33,000?
$33 for the year.
Yeah, well,
for 5 seats. No, it doesn't make any sense. I really don't care. The owners or whoever it is could come up with all the reasoning in the world. There's just no way that would make any sense to me. Or to pretty much to anybody.
They got to make it up. No, my thing is if they can't give the money back because it's spent, right? Maybe the money's already spent in the expenses, whatever it is. They got to make it up to them. Like they should have said something like, you know what, next season you get a discount, or we'll give you some like special access to the team. Like they should have worked out something to make it valuable, especially if the guy's been with them for 30 years, 31 years. They should have done something to make it work for them a little bit more. There's ways to get around
but
that.
There you go. They're not bending backwards, or they're not doing anything
that's
for
the problem right there.
And that's what I'm saying. So, and it's so far in the article that I read, it's more. It was targeted more at the New York teams.
Yeah.
Meaning, New York Yankees and the Mets. So, as much as I want to win and I want my Mets to win, I mean, come on, man. When it comes down to it,
COVID's messing everything up, man.
Yeah, man.
COVID's messing everything up. You know what? Have you been seeing that the COVID pandemic is like resurging in like Europe? We have fans in France, and I saw France was like extending their lockdown or re-implementing lockdown. Did you see the traffic of people like leaving Paris and the big cities? Yeah. That's insane to me.
I mean, the lockdown, too, I'm telling you, it hasn't worked, man. I mean, I don't believe in the lockdown thing. It really has.
For our friends in France, please email us at suggestions at
outofthecavepodcast.com.
Yeah, email us because we want to hear. We want to hear like what is your experience over there, because it just seems so crazy to be going through this again, and it seems like everyone is leaving the city, going to the countryside. And if they have COVID, they're bringing that shit to the countryside. So it's not really going to matter anyway.
Yeah, no, but the lockdown thing is ridiculous, man. Everybody, more and more, cases are being reported and all that. And that's because there's more testing. And a lot of these cases are, kids that are getting it, and really nothing's going to happen. It's just like getting the flu in that sense. I keep hearing, another 1,000 people died today. I mean, what? Because you can't attribute all that stuff just to COVID. At least so far from what I've read, you really can't. People die on a regular basis, whether it be from cancer, getting hit by a car, whatever it is, man. You got thousands of people dying every single day. Are they using those numbers of the regular people that die from, I don't know, falling out of fucking off a cliff? Mm-hmm. Are they using that as, that's another COVID-related death? I don't know, man.
Yeah, we gotta dig deeper.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But I don't know, man. I mean, I just think that this lockdown thing is really crazy. Again, let's take precautions and let's, clean ourselves up and wash our hands and do all the things you're supposed to do. But the lockdown thing, it really is killing people, man.
But you know what? I agree. I think the lockdown thing for me was just a way of extending it, right? Because you can only lock down for so long, and at the end of the day, sometimes I wonder, should it just be that everyone has to be exposed to the virus? And unfortunately, there will be people who will get sick or die. And I'm not saying this lightheartedly. I'm just trying to speak like in a scientific way. Like, what is the best way? Because if everyone just hides out in like their homes, the virus is still out there, right? Like eventually, until you get a vaccine, or you get it and become immune, you can't really outrun it.
Yeah.
And that's what I hate about the politicians. They're always like, I think Joe Biden was like, hey, if I'm in office, I'm going to eradicate the virus. And people talk about it. This is nature. Like, it doesn't work that way where we're so powerful that we're going to be able to eradicate it. Yes, we get a vaccine. That's one way. But you can't just think like limiting the capacity to 25% of, the normal, guests of a restaurant is going to really like stop like that stuff's not going to stop it. What we're doing is really hurting the economies, and these small businesses especially, they need to figure out ways to get back to regular business, taking into account the precautions. Like gyms, by the way, gyms have been open. They were shut down for so long. Gyms have been open. I haven't heard anyone saying anything about outbreaks at gyms. And gyms, all they did was the same thing they were always doing. Why did we wait so long and have so many gyms be put out of business?
Well, look, I just did the early voting, right? And I stood online and all that. And the early voting in this particular case this year was because of this pandemic thing. So they figure, hey, you know what? We can't just have for election day millions and millions of people going to vote. Let's spread this thing out. So at least this way, right? There's not that many people at the places, this and that. Aside from everybody wearing masks, there is no such thing as social distancing there, bro, because there was thousands of people that were on that lines, man. Thank God that I was somewhere like in the front. But there were so many people there, and nobody was standing 6 feet apart from each other. And then when you got inside the building, there was no social distance. I mean, everybody was packed in there, and as you know, people, filling in their ballot and then just feeding it through and then moving out and leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was happening. It was progressing, but there was so many people in there. How did that resolve anything in regards to the pandemic aspect of it? You still got your election done, and you voted, and everything was cool. But how the hell did that satisfy what's going on if that was the case? That is the reason why I think that after this election, we probably won't hear as much about the pandemic anymore.
That'll be interesting.
You know what I mean? I've been saying that. I think that after whoever wins, I don't think you're going to hear much about the pandemic anymore. And you're not going to hear too much about numbers. They're going to start with other. Think about it. Like if, let's say, Trump wins, right? If Trump wins, the last thing that if the media is really that biased, they're going to be focusing on how to get this guy out of office and how to make sure that the actual election wasn't legitimate. And they're going to be focusing on that they're not going to be touching on the pandemic. If Biden wins, it's going to be something different. Whatever. Whether
it's gonna be celebrities at the White House again.
Exactly.
Every other week is gonna be some sort of an award ceremony.
Then you're gonna have the inauguration, right? Then you're gonna have millions of people going to the inauguration and this and that. And again, there goes the pandemic. Mm-hmm. No more, right? Because I guarantee you, no matter who wins, they're not gonna say, "Well, we're not gonna have inauguration this year. We're not gonna do that because of the pandemic. We're gonna keep everybody's showing up." You know that even if Trump wins. And he says, "Hey guys, we're not going to have an inauguration. It's just going to be a small, intimate ceremony or whatever." People are still going to show up at that place.
Yeah.
Right? And vice versa. So I think that after next week, I think the pandemic talk is going to slightly go away.
I hope so.
I
mean, look,
But listen, we've been good, right? I mean, since this thing started back at the beginning of the year, as far as you and myself, we've been taking the precautions that they've been telling us. Mm-hmm. And so far, knock on wood, and thank God, my family, we have not had any of that stuff. My father-in-law, as a matter of fact, he did get the COVID. He's 80-something years old, but he was asymptomatic. Didn't have any. He had the COVID. He did his quarantine or whatever for 10, 14 days, and that's it. And the story, he was good to go. And thank God that, as an older person, he didn't pass away and nothing really bad happened to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So thank God for that. But there you go. So, that's the only thing that within my family we had. And we've been taking our precautions. So, I don't know.
No, I mean, he was lucky. I mean, again, not everyone has been that lucky, but I think you're right. I have a feeling, the talk will dissipate a little bit, and we'll see what the next thing is. Hey, speaking of, you mentioned your father-in-law being older. Sad news, right? Sean Connery passed away.
Oh, yeah, man. James Bond.
Yes.
That was Sean Connery.
Very good.
Away.
That's pretty good.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
I passed away today. I did.
Right,
sorry.
Took it too far. Man.
Yes.
Took it too far. I love Sean Connery, man. He was one of those guys who, whatever movie he did, I would watch.
Yeah.
But he did so many fun movies too.
All his movies were great, man.
All of them, right?
They were. I enjoyed the Presidio. It was a kind of military movie, so I'm into that. Presidio. He was in that. He was phenomenal in that one.
Hunt for Red October.
Hunt for Red October was phenomenal.
Where he played a Russian.
Yes.
A Russian Navy captain.
Yeah.
With a Scottish accent.
Yes.
Not to be outdone with him in Highlander, where he played Ramirez, a Spaniard with a Scottish accent.
Yeah. How about the one with Nicolas Cage, the Rock?
The Rock.
That was a good one too.
The Rock.
That was good. But ultimately, yeah,
he played a British national with a Scottish accent.
Yeah. What a phenomenal actor, man.
What
rest
about
in peace,
Indiana Jones?
Indiana Jones.
He's Dr. Jones's dad.
Yes.
Junior.
And
The Untouchables.
The Untouchables, another great movie.
Right. Another movie that I loved with him was First Night.
You know what? I never saw. That's the Richard Gere, right?
With Richard Gere.
Yeah, I never saw that.
Oh my God, I love that movie because it was all about Camelot, King Arthur.
Yeah.
And one of the things I enjoyed about that movie was the costumes.
Okay.
So when you watch the Oscars, they always like give awards to the costumes people.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, like I don't really care about it. But in First Night, they all look so snazzy, very colorful and bright. And there's one of those movies where I was like, man, who did the costumes? Because it was really good. And there's a scene, and this movie's been out for a while, so I mean I can say it. There's a scene where King Arthur finds out that Lancelot is cheating, or Guinevere is cheating on him with Lancelot. And he walks in to the room and he sees them, and you can just see the disappointment wash over his face. And I was just like, man, what a good movie! What a good movie! He did such a good job in that movie.
Yeah, no, he was a great actor, man. He's gonna be missed, man. But God bless him, 90 years old, man.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, man, he had a good life.
Sounds like he had a good life. He passed away in his home in Bermuda with his family around him in his sleep. Sounds like he was sick a little bit, but yeah, he's one of those legends for me. One of those guys who I just loved everything that he did.
Yeah, no. So rest in peace, Sean Connery. Yeah, definitely gonna miss the James Bond, the original James Bond.
The original James Bond.
Yes.
The Rock.
So rest in peace, Sean Connery.
So we're coming up towards the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
This was another fast.
It goes
episode.
too quick, man. It goes too quick.
Yeah,
hey, you know, really quick. I wanted to throw a quick shout out to Navy SEALs Team 6.
Yes.
They went into to Niger and they rescued an American. 1, 2, 3, bro. This guy actually he was kidnapped for ransom. Maybe like a week ago, something like that. These guys, man, in 1 week put a plan together. Went in there. I think there were 7 guys that were holding this guy hostage. Out of the 7 guys, they took out 6 in like split second. I don't know the 7th one, man. I think he must have taken off running, or I don't know what happened to the guy. But God bless him, man. 1, 2, 3, they went in, got this guy, and he's back home safely. So God bless him, and big shout out to Navy SEALs.
Yeah, once again, military doing their thing.
There you go. They're always working, man. There's no such thing. There's no politics involved in that one.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
I give nothing but love and support to the nation's military.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention, too, has nothing to do with our Navy. I just found out, or just read, that Prince Charles, who has been waiting forever to become king, apparently will become king as of 2021, because Queen Elizabeth is stepping down, man, and she is transferring power to Prince Charles, who will now be King Charles.
Good for him.
Yeah. So we'll see how long he lasts as king before he gives it up to his son, right?
Yeah.
You know he's going to hold on to that shit forever. He's been waiting forever for that. You know he ain't giving that thing up.
Yeah, I give Queen Elizabeth props, man.
How old is she, man? She's in her 90s, right?
Yeah, I guess so. She's pretty
90s.
old. Good for her.
Or even more than that.
And I've seen a couple of like documentaries about her.
Yeah.
She seemed like she lived like such a very interesting life.
Yeah, I mean, you know, she was in the military too.
Mm-hmm.
She was in the military, so it was a tough cookie. She's definitely a tough cookie, and she's had a good life too, man. Oh, you know what? Really quick, Lori Loughlin, man. Going back to one of our early podcasts, we were talking about Lori Loughlin. She's finally in prison, man.
And Becky's in jail.
And Becky made it to jail. She turned herself in.
We need that Law and Order sound. Dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun. We need her on our podcast as soon as she gets out, man. We got to be one of our first ones that she visits.
We love you, Aunt Becky.
Becky, hang in there. Remember, don't pick up the soap.
Don't pick up the soap. Don't pick up the soap.
Please do not pick up the soap.
And remember the old,
I'm sure she's in a country club setting right now.
And remember the old advice: walk into the yard and find the biggest, baddest woman there, and punch her in the face.
I remember Martin Lawrence.
Or you may want to run.
I remember Martin Lawrence used to say, "Nah, you know what? Fuck that. If I ever go to the prison, man, I know exactly what I got to do in order to keep these fucking guys away from me, man. I'm just gonna shit myself every single day. Just keep shitting myself and shit. No one's gonna want to touch me." Little does he know, man. Those guys don't give a shit.
I don't know.
They've been in there that long. They could care less.
That might be my plan if that happened to me. That might be my plan too.
Oh man.
What about your Bills, man?
Bills, they came back. They're back on their winning ways. They are now heading to, well, I don't know if they're heading to New England or New England's coming to them, but it's going to be a tough game. Let's see, man. We got to just keep going, man. One game at a time. I'm not going to get too happy because we beat the Jets, and to be honest with you, we didn't even score a touchdown, man. It was all field goals. And
yeah, that's not a big accomplishment.
And our kicker actually missed 2 of the field goals. So, hey, listen, a win is a win, so I'm hoping they continue their winning ways. And if they go to New England and they beat them, at least they could legitimize their standing in the NFC East. At least against the Patriots, who've had their number for many years, especially when Tom Brady was there.
Yeah. Now's the time to win.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're actually out of time.
We're out of time. Damn. It was very quick.
On this spooky episode of Out of the Cave podcast.
Out of the podcast, yes. Out of the Cave podcast, yes.
Sean Connery.
Yes.
Fans, thank you so much for sticking in there, hanging with us. We really appreciate it. This is our 14th episode.
Yeah.
And, man, the time has flown. We started in the middle of the summer putting this together, and we have had such a great time producing and
learning, enjoying.
Yes,
this is great. And we've been getting some good feedback from the fans and from other podcasts. Thank you so much for your encouragement and support. We're really enjoying this. And you listen, we support everybody back. And thank you. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, for sure. So if you have any suggestions for us, you can always email us at suggestions@outofthecavepodcast.com. You can find us on Facebook at outofthecavepodcast.com, and we're on Instagram at Out of the Cave Podcast.
Oh, you can also do the Twitter.
Instagram is Out of the Cave Podcast, not .com.
Out of the Cave Podcast. Yeah. And
so
then
you can find us there.
On Twitter, you can find us at Out of the Cave Pod, right? It's Out of the Cave Pod.
Yep. And so if you go to our webpage, outofthecavepodcast.com, you will find all the links to all of our social media. Please feel free to drop us a message. Let us know what you think. Give us some show ideas. And most of all, let us know what you want to see next.
Yeah, also you can go to YouTube and you can listen to our podcast on YouTube also, just in case you guys don't have an ability to get onto Apple iTunes or anything like that. So you should be able to get into that.
Yep. So once again, thank you, fans. Enjoy your Halloween. We hope everyone's safe and healthy. And by the time we speak, I think we'll have a new president, right?
Yes. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
That'll be a good podcast.
It's going to be interesting next time. Yes.
Take care, everyone.
All right. Have a good week.
Thank you.
You got it.